I hope this runs full thing without it dying. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say call on Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, B'Kakwa Yash. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God of Gods. There is no God besides him. And the gods that he made, which is Yahweh Shai. Even though at the end of the day he's above, he's almighty, but he created gods, his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, the holy angels, and the lower level Israelites that are on the earth that were born in the flesh of angels, souls put in the flesh of men. Much love to him. Ain't no other God besides him, besides those. Much love to his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, the Muhammad Sheikh, the light of this world, my King and my Lord as well. And our Savior, the one who put his blood over the children of Israel that they might be saved and grafted them into the new covenant so they could be protected when these times take place. Much love to Israel, the only nation granted for salvation. And much love to the chosen children of Israel. And much love to the new covenant prophets, the Akim, the brothers that push the word. They do everything in their power to show you how Bashem Yahushua, they love and they fear him. And they make all kind of videos and all kind of breakdowns and release secrets of the Bible that nobody knew, and word definitions and everything that we need to know before we get out of here. Like the Bible say, basics instructions before leaving earth. That is a perfect title for that. And much love to those brothers, much love to the Aqua, the beautiful sisters, and whether you got a man or not, you still fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. You listen and you learn in silence with and nobody's perfect to the best of your abilities. You ain't perfect. Females, they be having stuff to say too. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Coming at you with another video through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. It's a beautiful day. I'm out here and it is hot. Got blizzard heat, but that is okay. I like it like this because it's harder to do the word and it's colder, and storms come and I tend to get sick a lot around storms. So enjoy the summer while it's here. Summer for Vegas stretches all the way until mid-November, probably towards the end of November, and then the seasons will change. So we got quite the long ride. We at the end of June, and we will be at the beginning of July in the next couple of days, which is great. And the summer is just start kicking off in May. So it's been summer for Vegas. I don't know, other parts, probably California. It's been summertime ever since like early May, at the end of March it been changing, and then May it just got real hot, and then it was like kind of on and off, and then it just blazed up, and it's been like that. But I like it like this. Nice weather, get around. Yeah. Today's title is called Rich and Poor. Rich and poor, because while we here as the children of Israel, we had our time where we was at our ultra rich, and we was at the top, and we was at our rise, and now we had to deal with the fall, and we fell, and like it says in the Bible, it says, for the angels that which not kept their estate are reserved in the chains of everlasting darkness and await the great and terrible day. That actually goes towards the chosen that came down here, but it could go towards the Israelites too, because we the angels, and we fell, and we got to wait till the day of judgment in order to be, well, he gonna set us free during the collapse and stuff, but the day of judgment and the day, that last day with the nuclear event going on and all of that last day, that's the day that we leave earth and we go back to our state. And when we come back to the earth, we come back down as powers, rejoin with the rest of the angels. We got rid of the old bodies that are filled with temptation, desire, corruption, wickedness, and we got put in better bodies. And now we are in our angelic form. And like the Lord said, I'll write the commandments in their heart so they never go off again. So we'll be like Yahweh Shai. We'll be able to do all the commandments perfect. We'll be able to do everything perfect, and we will be perfect. And we will never go off, and we'll be with the Lord eternally like the angels do. No more pain, no more struggling, and we'll be able to do it on the earth. So that's even better. We'll be able to have all the splendor and the joys of the earth, but we'll be under the commandments. So we'll be able to follow the commandments, run the world right, and it'll be like that for eternity. Which comes with a dream. I had a dream last night that came, no, not last night, but I had a dream a couple of years ago, like 2-3 years back, about the last day. And on the last day of the world, we was hiding in a car. I was hiding in the car with some people, and we was hiding out from, you know, the FEMA groups and the troopers and the drones and all that, and we was hiding out in a deep forest. And we was on side of a cliff, and I was standing on side of the cliff in a dream. And in the dream, I looked up, and half the sky was stars, and then the whole other part of the sky was nothing but darkness. It was nothing but black, like super black. And above me was a big, the fathership, as they would call it, the big ass fathership that was blackening half the sky. Like the other half of the sky was just complete darkness. And it makes perfect sense, because Yahweh says, should the day of the Lord be darkness and not light? That is true. That day of the Lord ain't nothing good. It's only good for those of us that believe, and those of us that have faith in Yahweh, that we be saved, and the ones that the Lord chose. Other than that, for everybody else, it ain't good for everybody else, because they don't accept the Lord. So since they don't accept the Lord, it's going to be bad for them. And, you know, the Lord got to bring down judgment on the Edomites and judgment on the rest of the world and the rest of the nations. So, yeah, it's bad. It's very bad. Very, very bad. But it's a good news for us, because we know that we are over with. We out of captivity. We free. And we can go back to Yahweh. And that's what that day is for. That's what those last days are for. That's what the collapse for. That's what the last day of the world is for. For those of the Israelites that are chosen to leave this place, and the ones that came back to the Lord, they want to leave, they can leave. And the Lord will take them. So, with that being said, a chariot, a UFO flew down from the fathership. And when it came down, it opened its doors, and all of us had ran in, and we ran in, and I think I was the last to go in, and the door had opened. When the doors had opened, it was so bright, it was like a screen of light. It looked like water. That's what it looked like. It looked like shining, sparkling, beautiful ass water, and it was white. And by the time I went in, I couldn't see nothing else. After that, as soon as I ran in, the dream was over. You know, so these things are a very real thing. You know, we go back to our riches, we go back to our royalty on the last day of the world when it's time to go. You know, because the Lord is not going to just let us get taken like that, and you know, He's not going to just let us see the second death. The second death is that nuclear event, man, and it's very, very bad. It's very, very bad. It's bad. But, you know, with that being said, you know, right now we live in this poor life. So, you know, the things that we took for granted when we had our royalty, when we was up, and, you know, it humbled us. So we know how to appreciate, you know, we know how to conserve, you know, we know how to deal with things when they come our way, whether it be stressful or not. You know, we learn how to overcome these obstacles that the Lord set before us. And like the Lord said, in order for you to be a God, you got to learn light and darkness. You got to have both. So you got to know the brightest light. You got to know the deepest darkness. And darkness can get very bad. It can get very gruesome. It can get very evil. But there are lessons in it, and there's wisdom in darkness. The sun is knowledge. The moon is wisdom. So it's wisdom in the dark. And you tend to you learn a lot of things by going through a lot of things. Like Yahweh said, He chastised the ones that He loved. If you're not going through nothing, then the Lord don't love you. If you're not going through nothing, then the Lord don't love you. If you're going through a lot, and you're going through a lot of stuff, you know, and you're going through a lot of changes, you know, you got to know the truth and all that. You got to know all that. But the Lord loves you, and He putting more into you, and He paying attention to you, and He corrected you. Like He said, the Lord corrected His children like a father to a son. It's that simple. You know, so that right there is very important right there. Dang, that thing grew. I remember when they chopped that thing in half. Never mind. But yeah, we're going to get some Bible scriptures on the rich and the poor, because, you know, right now we live in that poor life, and we live in the things that we used to have. And it always crossed your mind, you know, it always crossed your mind, you know, like, damn, like, I wish I was rich, you know, some Edomites, some Israelites did get rich. Some of them are living that life, but not all of us. So there's a great imbalance. And on the economic, financial level for the children of Israel, everybody's, when the Israelites was in royalty, everybody was in royalty. All the Israelites was in royalty. They had different statuses and different tiers, but they was all a part of the royal line, and nobody was broke. So it's like, you know, just thinking about those times and thinking about all the royalty and everything that the Lord had done for the children of Israel back then. It's like, man, like this, like I want to be rich again. You know, I know we all get that feeling like, man, I wish I was rich. I wouldn't have to worry about all of this. Like they said, money is a strong defense. Like I said in the Bible, money is it's very true. Money is a strong defense. Money is the answer to a lot of problems, but at the same time, money is the root of all evil. That is true, because a lot of people get money and they doing a lot of wickedness and they doing a lot of evil stuff. And the money is corrupting them. This materialism is corrupting them. They so submerged in it that they lose sight. They even lose sight of who they are, man. They lose sight of that, you know. So with that being said, you know, a lot of us lose sight of it. You know, you got Israelites that's getting rich and they leaving the hood and they not coming back to put nothing into their own people, not to take care of their people, not to lift up their people. You know, they survive how they survive. That's it. And they got money to make a difference, but they don't. You got a lot of these Israelites that's running off with the Edomites to go get rich, and they signing pacts, they joining organizations. Some of them they cut off their own family to have all this money, man. They could care less. As long as they are okay, as long as they have riches, that's all that matters, bro. That's all that fucking matters. You know, you got a lot of these Israelites that's just running off and just abandoning, you know, the people in the hood and all that. You know, we deal with all of that. We all got them rich family members that hoard all the money together and they don't want to take care of each other. There's so much separation. And that's one of the laws. Love thy neighbor as much as you love yourself. Love your brother as much as you love yourself. It ain't like that no more. It ain't like that no more, you know? So it's just like, you know, when you think about it all, like, you know, this world is very corrupted. This world is very evil, man. And it's that same Stockholm syndrome mindset to where it's just like, you know, like the house nigga and then the slave nigga that's be outside, you know, it's like that, you know, and it's so separate and we so divided as a people. We actually, a lot of Israelites is against each other, you know, and whether it be through these gang banging cults, you know, or whether it be at different religions that we be at odd, or money-wise, mainly money-wise, you know, be against each other, you know, and it's just like, you know, the majority of us, the rest of us is poor, man. Like I said, blessed be the poor, for I know that you are rich. It's a lot of these Israelites that, well, all of them are royalty, but, you know, they broke, they poor, and they are put in the harshest environments. It's like a diamond. It's like a diamond in the rough. It's like a diamond in the desert, you know? And only the Lord know where that diamond is. Nobody else know where that diamond or diamonds are. You know, they buried off into the desert. They hidden. So it's just like when you think about things like that, you know, it's just like, damn, like I just want to be rich again. Like, man, if I had this and if I had that, you know, if I had this money and if I had that money, you know, then I would be taken care of. But, you know, it's not like that. You know, the Lord could keep you, and then he can also keep you at a certain mindset. He can keep you at a certain mindset. He can, that happens, man. That can happen, man. You know. That lady looks good, boy. Woo. But that can happen. He can keep you at a mindset to where this is all you're thinking about, and he can keep you on a reprobate level, reprobate mindset, a repeated pattern, and that's all you think about. You know, you get up, you go to work, you eat, you sleep. You get up, you go to work, you eat, you sleep, until the Lord decide for you to do something different, you know? So we can get some of these Bible scriptures on this rich and this poor, because it not only has something to do with the money, but it can have a lot to do with the mindset and the way you think. Oh, oh, this is a good one. This is Proverbs 21, verse 20. It says, precious treasure and oil in a wise man's dwelling, but a foolish man devours it. That's right. And that goes for based on a man that don't have nothing, that can manage it and preserve it, and then based on the man that know he got these treasures and he got this knowledge and this oil, to the ones that take it for granted and then they use it and then they burn it out. You know, compared to the wise man he ain't got much, you know, but he manages, and the more he manages and the more he control it, it becomes more in abundance. With the knowledge that he know, it becomes more in abundance. But the foolish man is gonna act like he ain't never had nothing and spend everything that he got. Now, we all done been on that side. I done been on both sides, so I understand this. But now I'm more on the wise man's dwelling, you know, with the precious treasure and the oil. I'm more on his side, so I understand what it is to not have much and to make the best out of what you got, and to make little a lot. You know, like how Yahushua did when he was when he had the fishes and he had to feed thousands of these Israelites that wouldn't stop following him. I think he had like 4 or 2 fishes or 4 or the loaf of bread, and he caused them to multiply, and he was feeding everybody out of that one basket. So it says, we gonna move on to the next one. This one right here, it says Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. It says, no one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other. It says, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. And that is true. Because a lot of people that get their money, like it said in the Bible, it says, who is God? Lest I forget my Lord and say, who is God? We done all been there to the point to where we done had so much money and we was doing so much, and then just life is happening to the point to where, you know, we question that. We do away with that. I mean, it was a point to where I had so much money I had abundance of money. I had so much of it to the point to where I even said the same thing. I stopped praying. I stopped doing all of that, you know, and I just stopped caring about everything. I kind of let myself go, you know, and I just fell into this deep state of just, you know, just emptiness, you know, and the money that I had never really solved anything, and plus I didn't know how to utilize it, and then on top of that, it didn't solve shit. So it's just like, you know, in my mind, like, maybe that wasn't the answer, you know? So, you know, like you said, you can't serve God and money, you know? This is Matthew chapter 19, verse 16 through 30. It says, and behold, a man came up to him saying, teacher, what good deed must I do to have eternal life? It says, and he said to him, why do you ask me about what is good? It says, there is only one who is good. It says, if you would enter life and keep the commandments. He said to him, which ones? And Yahushua said, you shall not murder. It says, you shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. It says, you shall not bear false witness. It says, honor your father and your mother, and you shall love your neighbors as you love yourself. It says, the young man said to him, all these I kept. What do I still lack? So those are just simple commandments. That's a part of the covenant. You know, you got the commandments and all that. And it does advise to do the best that you can to honor these commandments, you know, and do all that you can, you know. It says, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28, it says, let the thief no longer steal, but rather let him labor, doing honest work with his own hands, so that he may have something to share with anyone in need. So I've been there. I've been poor, and I've been that thief, you know, to the point to where I had to go. I was shoplifting, I was stealing, I was doing everything. I was boosting, I was selling clothes, I was selling liquor bottles. I was doing it all, man. I was doing it all. But, you know, over time, I knew what I was doing was wrong. And at some point, I could really get caught up, and it could be really serious for me. Even though the Lord didn't have me get caught up. I got caught one time, and I think I got caught like 3 times. But that one main time, and it was a couple days before Christmas. So instead of me running, because they was trying to chase me, it was some Walmart undercovers, and they was trying to chase me, but I stopped running because I knew I couldn't get away from them. And I went inside, and I gave them all the stuff that I stole back, and they let me go. They let me go, you know. But after that, I still was stealing and doing all that because I didn't have no money and I was broke, and I was heavy in addiction. That's probably why I was heavy in addiction. You know, so I understand this. And then when I got my job, I promised myself that I would never steal, and I never did. I grew up out of that, and I got a job, I started working, and I never stole again. Never did none of that again. Over time, I had kicked my drug habit, you know, and I relapsed one time, and then I kicked it, and I never been back. Never been back. Been sober, been living my days sober, and just been doing me and having a better life. Like, that's what it's about. And like you said, just in case, just to have something to share with anyone in need, just in case you got to help your family members, you know, you got to help certain people that's close to you, whether they need a place to stay or they need a quick buck to get past the day. You know, we all got them. You know, that's how it works. You know, and you got to learn, and it shows you how to make a little into a lot, how to make something small and make the best out of it and make an abundant out of it. So it's just like, you know, with that being said, these are good teachings, and it's the same, and we've all been through it. You know, we've all been through it. You know, everybody, ain't nobody different. We all done been through these same trials and went through these same phases. You know, just everybody, people's lives are different than others, you know, but everybody done been through this. So it says, Luke chapter 16, verse 11, if then you have not been faithful in the unrighteous wealth, it says, who will entrust you the true riches? That's right. That's right. And that's why we in the situation that we in right now, man. That's why we in that situation that we in right now. It says, have not been faithful in the unrighteous wealth. Where it says, if you have not been unfaithful in the unrighteous wealth, it says, who will entrust you the true riches? Well, I don't know that one. That's kind of deep. So I'm going to skip that one. I don't know. But this one is good too. This is Matthew chapter 6, verse 19, verse through 21. It says, do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where the moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves your treasures in heaven. It says, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, it says, there your heart will be also. And heart means mind. So with that being said, you know, a lot of things, your faith is a treasure. You know, your faith is a currency. Your prayers are a currency. You know, you going out to the highways and byways, you know, showing people your faith, that's the currency. You know, you asking people, that's the currency. You passing on the names, you trying to wake people up, that's currency. You know, YouTube accounts with all of your highways and byways events and all that on there, you out there, and the Lord see that. All of that is a currency. All that's a currency. So, you know, with that being said, a lot of the Israelites that got all this stored up in heaven, and a lot of Israelites that go hard, they'll be able to access this currency and be able to buy expensive, precious things from on high, from the Lord, because they can afford it. Now, compared to the Israelites that do nothing, you know, you might get a little something from the Lord, maybe not, because, you know, you got Israelites that heard of the truth and don't pray. They don't do anything at all. You know, they just lay around. You know, some of them don't even believe. They just passed it up. They didn't care. Then you got the Israelites that heard of it, that don't do work, that don't do nothing. They don't listen to the prophets. They don't do tithings. They don't do anything. Tithings is a currency too. He who helps a prophet gets a prophet's reward. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. A lot of Israelites that help take care of these prophets, you ain't got to do a lot of them. You could do like one or two or just one, because I know that we ain't got a lot. I know we're trying to manage our own savings and try to take care of ourselves and put more money to ourselves than others. But, you know, it's good to help the prophets when you can. You know, I do $25 to $15 a week when I can. If I'm on the road like I used to be, every now and then I'll shoot in like $40 or $50. You know, but I do what I can and I manage what I can. But guess what? My heart go out to them because they going harder than me. Right, these street prophets, they out there, some of them street prophets out there that are the true prophets. According to the Bible, they just don't know who they are according to the Bible, you know. But they out there going hard, man. And some of them is really living them lives to where they don't have much, they don't have nothing. So they do rely on their subscribes, they do rely on their sponsors. No, they do rely on their followers, man. They do rely on people. Now, the person that I watch don't even know who I am. But does it matter? That's the key. That's how you know you gotta have a heart from somebody else. Does it even matter that the person that I follow and the prophet that do the highways and byways know who I am? No, it don't. That shit don't matter to me. You know, what matters is that I'm helping. What matters is that my heart go out to him. And that's what the Lord is looking at. And remember, he who helps a prophet gets a prophet reward. That is true. That is very true. And you taking care of them. You got the tithings. You believe in the word. And if you don't go to the highways and byways, if you don't go out to the highways and byways, or you don't do videos, that's fine. Some people ain't meant to do that. But, if it's in your heart to help, if it's in your heart to take care, that's what the Lord is looking at. Like I said, you receive a penny in order to get into heaven. It don't take much to get in. You got the faith of a mustard seed. It don't take much. But you got to have your heart in it and all that. You can't just pray and be like, Yahweh, I've never prayed to you before, but, hear my cry and this and all that. The Lord might save you, then again, he might not. You don't want to be like that. You don't want to be like those people that's going to happen to them in the last day, to where maybe the Lord will hear you, maybe he not. I don't know, man. You've been pretty mean to me. You done a lot of bad things, and you ain't prayed, and you ain't asked for forgiveness, you ain't repented, and you haven't changed. So why should I save you? You don't want the Lord to be, you don't want to be in the hour of judgment, and you asking for salvation, you asking for to be acquitted, and the Lord looking at your past record, and this is the only time that you actually prayed, or actually had something, asked the Lord for something. Like all the other time you didn't care. You done did all kind of people wrong. You done did them bad and all that, man. And the Lord gave you all that money, and you didn't even take care of nobody. You didn't look out for nobody. You kept all the money to yourself. You let your people fall. You didn't care about nobody, about whatever you had going on. You taught your kids how to be stingy. You done did all this shit. So the Lord, you don't want to be like that in the last days, because people is going to need a miracle to get them out of the things that are coming. And Yahweh is that miracle. So you don't want to be on straddling the fence with the Lord. You don't want that, because the Lord gonna straddle the fence with you. Some people might be saved and be like, all right, I'll save you. You ain't that bad of a person. Some people ain't gonna be saved, like, man, you a bad person. I'm not about to save you. So with that being said, your currency is a lot too, but don't, like I said, you got to have the penny in order to get into heaven. So with that being said, some people don't have much. And some people is dependent on that currency so much so that they will argue to the Lord. They will plead their case to the Lord and be like, I did this for you and I did this for you. Here's my works. Here's my YouTube accounts. Here are the people that follow me. Here's my group. This is how many times I pray a day. This is here I done did most of the commandments, and I did the best I could not to break them, but I done followed every commandment a day. I done every feast. I done every Sabbath day. Am I not worthy? Them people that's so adamant about, getting spiritual power, or, demanding to be saved. Hey, that take balls, man. That take balls for you to demand something from Yahweh. Hey, I done that before. I've done that before. I've tried to demand something from the Lord, something that the Lord had gave me already. Something that the Lord had gave me. That's how stupid I was, man. Never do it again. Never do it again. I take whatever the Lord give me, and I'm happy for it, whether it be a lot or a little, man. I'm happy just that he even forgave me for all of that. I'm happy for that. But don't ever just demand, like, just give it to me, You got people like that. Like, I done did everything. That's what's going to happen to a lot of the street prophets that is based on that alone. Like, I got like 30,000 followers, man. Ain't nobody keeping up with me, man. I do 7 videos a day and all that, not knowing that, some of us don't have the attention span to do that shit. I don't have the attention span to do that. I'm not perfect, man. I may do some videos, here and there, when I feel like it. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I ain't perfect, man. I ain't about to just try and just be like, I'm straight cutthroat down the middle. Some of them are. Some of them really are, but, with that being said, like, a lot of us we're not perfect. How y'all doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Y'all believe in the Bible? Y'all stay blessed. Have a good day.
You too.
Hey, what's going on over there? Why that man keeps screaming? Oh, sound like an auction. Yeah, man, some people is going to be able to plead their case like that. And then again, at the same time, like King Yehoiada Maccabees be saying, some people, it don't even matter. Like I said, I don't care about all the works. It's nice that I got works, but it's the fact that, do you love the Lord or not? Do you love the Lord or not? And this is equivalent to a man loving a woman. A man is not going a woman is not going to worry about what the man got. She not going to worry about all the materialism. She going to love the man for who he is. And that's the same thing for the Lord. I don't really care about them words. Do you love me or not? Because I sure love you, but do you love me at heart? Do you love me for who I am? Do you love me for me? I could care less about them words. I want to see if you love me or not, you know? And that hour of judgment, that's going to really stun a lot of people, because some of the people did it just to be saved. They didn't have no interest. They didn't have no real interest in the Lord at all. They just wanted to be protected, you know? They just wanted the Lord to protect them. Or you got people that think that they first and they actually last. So these people that's coming that's thinking that they first but they actually last, they trying to take the seats, you know, like how King Yahweh Maccabees said, the GMS organization, those street prophets is in Moses' seat. You know, they trying to take the power. They claiming it, and they saying that they gonna have the power and that nobody else is gonna be saved but them. We the only ones granted for salvation, and if y'all not with our organization, you might not be saved. You know? And Yahweh Shem Yahushai said that I would save them all if it were possible, but they don't want to come. You know, and they use their currencies for their riches. So the more videos that they put out, you feel me? The more time that they take out to make these videos, the more people give their tithings to them. You know, the more people subscribe to their account, the more rich they feel. They feel more rich, and they feel like, yeah, I did this and I did that. Yeah. You know, you ain't got all that for me. You ain't got more than that. You know, ICUIC, they coming in with gold chains on and all that, gold mantle and all that, you know, gold uniforms and all that, looking all razzle dazzle. Some of these prophets don't got nothing. Some of them is discarding it because they don't need it. You don't need it. You know, it's the same thing that it's the same thing. This is a perfect example between a man that's really rich on the inside. Between a man that's really rich on the inside and a man that's rich on the outside, but he poor on the inside. You know, the man that's rich on the inside, he taking care of himself. It shows through his body. It shows through his performance. It shows through his diet. You got the man that got all the money, but he not taking care of himself. He got all the money and everything that he want on the outside, but he doesn't take care of himself on the inside. So he all fat, he all worn out, you know? He obese, you feel me? But he got the gold chain on. He got the Rolls Royce sitting outside. He got the 20-story house. He got all the money in the world. But guess what? Don't nobody care about that if you don't take care of yourself on the inside and you feeling dead on the inside. You ain't got no knowledge. You don't take care of yourself. You're not shredded. And everything in your life, you realize slowly that it didn't even matter. What really mattered was you. What really mattered was on the inside of you, you know? Like I said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's a real thing. This is what make the rich. It's what make the poor people rich. So despite what the enemy is doing, despite what the oppressor is doing, everything that he got is materialistic. You ain't got what's built inside of him. You don't have that. And that's what's going to forever keep you different from them. Because now the oppressor feel like, well, I got all the money, I got all the power in the world. I'm like the Israelites. No, you're not. Anybody can have that. They got something you don't got and you'll never have. And it's written in the law, and the law will never break. So they got that forever. You can't have that. They can lose all the riches in the world and everything, but that don't stop them from being the children of the Lord. That don't stop them from being angels. That don't stop them from having the spirit of Yahweh in them. That don't stop none of that. That's the real goal, and that's what they want. But the gap between them is so vast and so powerful. That's like an animal that want to live in a holy place, that want to piss and shit on holy ground and all that. That don't work like that. You meant for the dirt. These angels is meant to be on top in the sky with no cert. They walking on invisible surface. They walking on platforms with no surface. That's how fly they are, man. They deserve to be up there. Your ass gonna be down there, and that's just how it's gonna be. Can a zebra change his stripes? Can he reverse his colors? Hell no. So it says, see, this right here. This is why you got to be careful. It says, and just as it is appointed for a man to die once, and after that comes to judgment. You are judged. You go back to the foot of Yahweh and his council. You go to your spiritual world. You go to afterlife or to heaven. Then you wait on the Lord to call you. Then he gives you your judgment, and then you carry it out on the world when you come back. That's how it is. So we can read this. This is Luke chapter 16, verse 31. It says, he also said to the disciples, it says, there was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to him that this man was wasting his possessions. And he called him and said to him, what is this that I hear about? It says, turn in the account of your management, for you can no longer be manager. It says, and the manager said to himself, what shall I do? Since my master has taken the management away from me, I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. It says, I have decided what to do. It says, so that when I am removed from management, my people receive me into their houses. So summoning his master's debtor one by one, and he said to the first, how much do you owe my master? That's right, he started extorting them. But this one has more to it. It's just cut off right there. So I can't really put that whole precept together. But it says, Proverbs chapter 28, verse 22, it says, a stingy man hastens after wealth and does not know that poverty will come upon him. So there's two ways that poverty can come upon you. Either you could go broke, or you're having something wrong with your body, something failing inside of your body, your body failing, you're getting old, you entering into a poor state. Because you got plenty of rich millionaires, and they can't seem to fight off a simple cancer. They can't seem to fight off a permanent back injury, or they can't fight off obesity. So they rich on the outside but poor on the inside. And it says, and sometimes, like the Lord said, he can make a man rich, he can make the man poor. So with that being said, just as well, like they said, a rich man could go broke overnight. That is very possible. And the next day he put out, and the next day he a bum. And some of these people have been so rich, and some of these people have been rich for so long that they can't see themselves living our lives or even lower. Because you got people that's sleeping out on concrete. Then the pillow is concrete. The concrete is the pillow. You got some people that's literally sleeping in garbage. I've seen that. People sleeping in garbage, buried in garbage. You wouldn't even know they was there until they got up. You got some people that's laid out in front of all kinds of hazardous equipment that they use for drug usage. Just laid out there. Laid out there in front of hazardous equipment. If you touch it, it could kill you. Just by you touching it, You should, like I said, Kensington and Philadelphia, man. The zombie road, man. Zombie street, man. Got all them people out there bummed out, povertyed out. You got some people, body parts rotten from drug abuse. You got some people that ain't got nowhere to go. And some of them people was rich. And they fell off and they became poor. Poverty that will come upon them. Like it says, a stingy man hastens after wealth and does not know that poverty will come upon him. He keep all the riches to himself. He don't care about nobody else. He don't go try to take care of his people. He don't go try to equalize his family, give them all shares so they could be at peace with one another. Because money can solve a lot of problems, man. Money can bring a family together, man. Money can, just like money can make a female fall in love with you. That can happen. That can happen. I mean, she might not love you. She love the money, but sometimes that can happen. Make a female fall in love with you, man. Bring families together. That shit end beefs. People willing to put their differences aside to go get the money. That's how powerful money is right now in this world. It says, but woe to you. This is Luke chapter 6, verse 24. But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your constellation. That's right. And he's talking about them ultra rich people. They got all the world's money in their pocket. And they don't want to take care of nobody. They don't want to take care of their nations, none of that. All the nations have ghettos, man. All the nations have poverty, and they don't have to. They don't have to, but they use that. They use that, and they use that to their advantage, and they cite that's how they make their money. Without the poor, without the rest of the populace, how in the hell they gonna make money? How in the hell they gonna make money? How you gonna make milk without the cow? How you gonna make cotton without the sheep? How you gonna make cotton without the cotton field? all these things that don't have no money, all these things that they don't value, but they siphon their money up out of them. They using these poor people, you know? And like the Lord said, when you die and you receive your consolation. So guess what? When you die and you had all the millions, you had all them gazillions, you could have ended world hunger. You could have made the world rent free. You could have made food free. You feel me? To where everybody can win. Everybody can, and I'm talking about, this is such a serious topic. I'm talking about everybody can win. Look, you could swap the gas for water-powered cars. You feel me? That way, that's free energy right there. You could stop, you don't have to charge people for electricity. You don't have to charge them for that shit. You could take the electricity and make that free energy, or you can use what they call that, the Nicholas, I forgot what they call that, but it's like magnetic energy that causes it to be free energy. It's no different than electricity, but you don't have to put a bill. They put a bill on everything. White man put a bill on everything. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. As soon as you're born, that costs money. Pregnancies cost money. You feel me? Just for a female to have a baby, ain't no telling how much that is, and that happens every day. You know? I'm trying to tell you, it's so bad to the point to where it's just like, damn, like, if they could charge you for the air in your lungs, they will. You know? If they could charge you to blink, they will. That costs 3 cents to blink. You know? It's so bad they want to charge me. I love video games. They starting to put price tags on video games, man. They want you to buy a gun. Like for me, I play a lot of shooter games. They want you to buy the gun for $30. Buy the skin for $30. So guess what? I don't even own that. I just gave them my money for free. Just to have something that I don't materialistically own. I didn't buy that gun and they didn't mail it to me offline. I didn't buy that skin and they didn't mail it to me and it's mine. No, I bought it off the game. I just gave them my money for free. And this is the greed and how the white man, and this is the greed that he go about in the world. This is how bad it's getting. So guess what? When he come back into the next life and the next world, when all this is said and done, guess what's gonna happen to him? He gonna be the poorest person on earth. You feel me? He gonna be the slave. He gonna be the one that's working just like everybody else, like all of us. And while the world move on, him and his people gonna have to struggle, and they gonna have to deal with whatever they gonna deal with. And that's the truth. That's facts right there. But I'm just saying how bad they abuse these people, how bad they abuse the nations and all that, especially the Israelites, and how they hoarded up the world's gold, how they hoarded up the oil, the water, how they hoarded up the real food and all of that. The Lord said you're gonna pay for that in the next life. And believe, like they say, life is short. Oh yes. The Lord can make your life short, or he can make your life long and prosperous. But in his eyes, altogether, life is short. Lord blink and 1,000 people die a day. Somebody's dying today. You understand that? You understand that somebody's being born today. And somebody is dying today. And this is every day. This is the cycle. The wheel of reincarnation. Going in, going out. So you're not understanding how quick this wheel spins. And how many people die a day and how many people are born a day. You understand? So life is a very short span. It's very short. Especially if you're mortal. Now, if you are mortal and all that, or the Lord allow you to live for like 4,000-5,000 years, that's different. That, man, I wish I could live that long. Man, the shit that I could do with my life, man. But yeah, man, you feel me? Life is short altogether. So it says, this is first book of Timothy, chapter 5, verse 8. It says, but if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. That's true. That's true. I talk a lot of shit. You feel me? I be mad at my family. But ultimately, I take care of them. You know? I get them out the way. You know? It might take me some time, but I got a good heart. I don't have a black-ass heart to where I just want to see somebody burn to death like that. I want to see my own family member perish. I feel like that, but it's another part of me that's just willing to say, fuck it, let it go. You know why? Because I got to remember that the Lord would do it for me. The Lord will take care of me. The Lord said, if I take care of you, once you take care of them, and my good side win every time over my bad side. Every time. And I talk all the crap in the world. I be mad. Because I be a good person. I still get done over. I still get betrayed. But guess what? I still was there. I still endured. I took it to the chin, and I still helped. And that's what matters, you know? Take care of your people, you know? Especially if the Lord put it in your power to do it. Now, sometimes it's good for you to pull back. I'd rather for you to judge before you sacrifice. That's good. But if you got it, give it. That's the truth. If you got it, give it. If you don't got it, you don't got it. It's okay. We don't got no, we poor. But we still look out for each other. Love your brother as much as you love yourself. Right. You know, like I said, I got into it with my sister. My sister done did all kind of shit to me, done did the worst to me. But guess what? I got a good heart. So I didn't fully turn my back. I didn't turn my back forever. You know, but I had to turn my back to let her know, look, I got boundaries. You need to respect me. But over time, I still stepped in. And it was time for me to step in to help. I stepped in. I helped. Even when I didn't want to. Even when I didn't want to, I still looked out for her. When she was on the edge, when she was about to fall off, guess what? I was still there. And I didn't want to help, but I still helped. That's how the Lord is towards his people. That's how much love the Lord got for his people. Look, I hate you. I hate your guts. But I'm still there for you because overall he loved you. But, you know, it's figure of speech. You know, the Lord said, I'm mad at you, but I'm still there. You know, I don't want to give it to you, but I'm going to give it to you, you know. Hey, it be like that. Especially that's how you know that's deep love. That's real love, you know. That's real love. That's loving a person unconditionally. You feel me? You know, it takes time, but overall, you're not going to just abandon this person in need. Sometimes enough be enough. Sometimes you got to build a wall, but, you know, walls come down. They don't last forever. You can't be angry forever, you know. And that's how the Lord is towards his people. I can't be mad at y'all forever. Y'all my people, you know. I love y'all to death. I'm going to give y'all another chance. You can ask me for whatever you want. I'm going to give it to you, you know. But I'm mad at you. I'm pissed off, you know. Sometimes it's good to turn away. It is. It says, Luke chapter 14, verse 28. It says, for which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? That is true, too. Niggas be can't afford shit. Sometimes we be planning shit and shit be falling apart. Niggas be broke, man. Try to plan something and something fail. It's that simple. You ain't got the money to do that. This is good too. This is Revelation chapter 20, verse 6. It says, blessed and holy is the one who shares in the first resurrection. Over such the second death has no power, but they will be priests of Yahweh and of salvation. It says, and they will reign of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and they will reign with him for 1,000 years. So with that being said, the Lord is that's for the chosen, for the elect, the ones that didn't have it, the ones that did everything in their power to help, the ones that had the Lord on their heart continually, the ones that prayed, the ones that went hard for the Lord, whether it be physical battles or whether it be spiritual battles. When most of it is very spiritual, very spiritual. I done seen it's a lot of prophets out there that done threw down for the Lord. I know one of them. You know, King Yahweh Maccabees, man, he done threw down for the Lord. Mysteries of the Kingdom, threw down for the Lord. It's a couple of them other guys that day and night and day and night. King Yahweh Maccabees living in a motel, man. My man living in a motel, man. He done gave it up. He even tried to give his kids up. He even tried to give his former life up. He gave up trucking to serve the word. Now and he went to battle with no hesitation. The Lord see that, man. The Lord respect them niggas, man. The Lord respect them niggas that do that. He went to battle with no hesitation. He cared for the Lord and he loved his people. And he tried to pull in as many people as he could. Some people passed on, some people stayed with him. You know, one thing that happened with me, I didn't pass on. My spirit stayed with that old man. It stayed with him. You know, I don't ever forget that man. He brought me into the truth. When I heard him and I heard him break down the scriptures, I was kind of stiff-necked. But over time, the more I listened to him, the more I believed. And the more I accepted it, and it became a part of me. And that old man became a part of me. I'll never forget that old man. You feel me? Well, he not old, but, you know, he elder. That's my elder. That's who I follow. That's the only prophet that I know. I ain't going to try to put him on a pedestal because he ain't no different than the rest of us. But one thing that is that he love the Lord. And he will move mountains for the Lord. Trust me, he'll kill for the Lord. Yeah, that's that kind of man. That man, that's a real man. That's a real man. That's a role model for me to follow. That's the angel of the Lord that Yahweh put down for me to follow and get the word. Now that I got it, shit, I'll keep it in my mind. I keep it on my heart. And on top of that, you feel me? I send my tithings. That's me sending my love. You know, sending my tithings. I'll never forget about that old man. Fuck all that. I'm going to do the best I can. Even if I don't feel like I'm going to send something, man. Like the Lord said, give me that cool water to drink because the flames of hell is burning me. Them prophets is in the flame of hell, flames of poverty, man. They poor. Compared to a rich man that can give them something and bless them so to set them up so they can teach properly. Ain't no rich nigga came down and took care of them like that and just continue like, oh, I'm going to give you like 5 million for you to go teach and spread the word. Because I know you're going to do it. It ain't no rich people coming down to these prophets and dropping no money like that on them. You got some of us that give what we can. And they got to make the best with that. And like the Lord said, like I said in the Bible, give us this day our daily bread, man. Whatever you get from the Lord, whether it be a lot or a little, make the best of that bread, man. Make the best of it, man. You feel me? So at the end of the day, you know, that's just what it is. That's the truth. Them prophets ain't got shit compared to them damn pastors and them damn them damn fake Israelites that be in big ass camps that be sharing subscribers, sharing followers be giving their tithes away and all that, whether it be to that fake pastor or a fake Israelite, a false teacher. You feel me? A false Israelite teacher, yeah. And it's a lot of them folks out there, man. And they making bread. They making thousands. Some of them taking it out to go pay their car notes. Some of them buying new cars. Some of them buying, they ain't got to show that online. You know, some of them is paying their apartment. They live in their apartment free off their congregation. You know, while some of us don't even got none of that. My videos being blocked. My videos being censored. You feel me? I'm getting 1 or 2 listeners. Knowing damn well I know I'm getting a lot of listeners. I ain't getting nothing. And I don't even ask for all of that. I don't want no titans. I don't want none of that shit. You know, if anything, rewire that to the ones that actually need it. But I don't need it because I'm already blessed, you know? But at the end of the day, I don't have none of that. I don't have no congregation. I ain't got nobody. I got 4 subscribers. And on my other one, I got 6 subscribers. And after that, I don't even use my other one no more. So I started over. So all I got is 4 people, and they barely listen. I don't even know why they subscribe. And if they are listening, my shit's so rigged by the YouTube accounts, you know, by the people that don't like my message and that don't share my videos, to the point if I don't have people subscribing to me, then I ain't got nothing. You feel me? And all I'm doing is just reading my Bible, spreading the word, making videos. And it be so hard to the point to where it's like, and like it say right here, it say, but it says, what it say? Where is it at? Like it say right here, it says, Luke chapter 14, verse 28. It says, for which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? There it is right there. Can't even afford it. Can't afford it. Be broke as fuck. But damn it, you know what? I'm going to still keep pushing whether I got these people or not. Because I believe. I'm happy for whoever listening, and I'm happy for whoever stopped by or anybody that I ask that just listen to me. I'm happy for that, and I don't get too many people. And when I do get people, I might say something, I might not. You feel me? But ultimately, I'm happy for that. You know, compared to the rest of these rich-ass pastors and the rest of these fake Israelite teachers that's getting thousands off YouTube, getting thousands off whatever platforms that they created because they got a congregation. And a lot of them, like King Yehoiada Maccabees, don't have shit. He get whatever he can. He asked the congregation to donate $1. Shit, I donate $20 to $40 if I can. I'm trying, you know, but he don't have much, and he doing everything in his power to do it right. And that's a man that I respect. I ain't trying to put him on no pedestal and all that, but, you know, like the Lord said, like Yahushua said, don't